Hello there, Samurai. It's DavinchyFX. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so this is my second video on YouTube. You all should try to like, share, and subscribe, and do well to comment wherever. Like if you are having issue with anything pertaining to trading, if the chart confuses you, if you're in the valley of death, there's something we call the valley of death where you don't know what you're doing yet. Just hit me up in the comment section and subscribe. So now this is Euro USD. We got a BUS to the upside, and I got another BUS price bought from our previous order block. So now a lot of people would have mistaken like this structure based off because I trade solely market structure, POI, which happens to be point of interest, and session based liquidity. So whenever Asian range is close to my zone, I need London to either sweep the highs of the low based on context, if it is bullish or bearish. So now we marked out our structure, we marked out our POI. So we have a structural high. So this is what I'm looking for on Euro USD. So I'm just looking to buy from my POI, which happens to be on my 15-minute, because I trade only the 15-minute structure. And I trade based on rules. So now I trade based on rules. My valid pullback, I have a rule to it. So wherever I trade, there is always a rule abiding with it. So now that's my structural low. If that low gets taken out, I know the price has flipped from bullish to bearish, and we'll be looking to change our course. So now this is my analysis. This is the 1 ratio. I think this is the 1 ratio 8 setup based on my analysis. If I am looking to enter aggressively, but as you all know, I'm not an aggressive trader. I trade based on confirmation. So whenever price gets to my POI, I wait for confirmation always. So you also, if you need a confirmation, if you don't know what a confirmation is, if you need lecturing or anything, mentorship, just hit me up. So now, for this is our USD CHF. So a lot of people would have thought that is the valid pullback, but to me it was not valid. So now this is the valid pullback. I marked a BUS to the downside, telling us that the United States dollar and Swiss franc is currently bearish. So I marked out the high, the lower high, that happens to be our structural high. Then I marked out my POI. My POI is where, because I use only order blocks for my POI. So I marked out my order block, telling me this is where I'm looking to sell from. So if price does not get to that zone, or if it takes me weeks to months before price gets to that zone, I am not going to do anything on that pair until price gets into my point of interest. And not only that, a lot of people they don't trade based off session. And most of the time, session helps me. It helps a lot based on. So now most of the time, Asian session drives price into POI. And most of the time, based on my historical research and my research on historical data, if Asian session drives price into your POI, most of the time it is about to cause a change of character. That means a flip in the market demand. So most of the time, a lot of people, based on they don't trade sessions, they get like trapped in the middle. So most of the time, you need to be able to trade based on session, because a lot of people they don't lose trade based on they don't have idea of what they are doing. They lose trade based off they were not trying to react to what the market is telling them to do. And DavinchyFX, we trade reaction over prediction. So now moving on to the Gbpusd. So now that was a 1:56 setup that I caught on Gbpusd. So now price flipped bullish, and now price gave us a BUS to the upside. So now we are not trying to look for the structural high and the structural low. So now I marked out my structural high, then I marked out my structural low. So now a lot of people have seen a lot of pullbacks before that high and that low, but to me it is not valid based off what it does not meet my rule. So now if it does not meet my rule, I don't trade it. So now I went down to the 1 hour time frame to mark out my valid point of interest. So now that happens to be my point of interest. So now after I marked it on the phone, I went down to the 1 hour to mark it based off if it is not visible on the 15 minutes. I need to go to an higher time frame to make it more visible and a little bit clearer for me to be able to mark. So now I went down to the 1 hour to make sure it is precise, because I trade based off precision. I trade, like anything I do, must be precision based. I don't just trade recklessly, and I trade only confirmation. So if price does not get to my zone, I am not just looking to trade blindly. So now, when going back to the 15-minute time frame, I already have my structural high. So if price does not get to that zone, I am not looking to wait for a confirmation to buy. But now we just know that price is what is looking to go bullish on the next move. So if price gets to that zone and gives me a confirmation, I am looking to buy. But if it does not get there and goes ahead and give me another BOS to the upside, I'll be looking at marking another zone to buy from. So now moving on to the GJ, that's my favorite pair of all, the volatile king, Gbpjpy. So now marking out our structures, you can see price bought from that previous order block. The reason I did not catch this trade is not because I don't know what is about to happen. I knew price is going to buy from there, but Asian session drove price there. That's one of the reasons I did not catch that trade. And I am not an aggressive trader. An aggressive trader would have placed their limits there, or immediately price gets there, they just enter in aggressively, like start buying aggressively. But for me, based off Asian session drove price there, and I always wait for London to sweep the low of Asia in a bullish contest. So since that did not happen, I just watched the price play out. So that is only based on discipline. So now I mark out my structural high, telling me that's my new high, and marked out my low. So now if price, so now I'm not looking after marking out my structure, because structure is the main thing. Structure tells you where market is likely to go next. So after doing that, I went down to the 30-minute time frame. Then I noted a very visible order block. And what is an order block? An order block is the last sell candle before the buys, the aggressive buys, the momentum buys. So there's something we call order flow, and there's something we call order block. So most of the time, a lot of people mistaking order flow for order block, which are two different things. An order flow is the last sales before the buy, while the order block is the pinpoint, hitting the nail on the head. That means you are looking for the exact candle that caused the reaction. But for the order flow is the entire sell before the buy in a bullish contest, while in a bearish contest, the entire sales before the buy, which most of the time they work effectively based off. Sometimes price does not go directly to the order block, the main candle. Price just reacts from the order flow. So now this is the gold XAUUSD. So now we already marked this out in my previous video, and I went out to the 1 hour time frame to mark out the order block. You can see price bought aggressively from the order block that I marked yesterday. But why did I didn't take this trade? I am not an aggressive trader. So an aggressive trader would have taken this trade and would have been making a lot of money right now. But for me, since I am not an aggressive trader, I just let it slide and let it go. So now you can see. So now if price breaks that high, I am looking to mark out another order block, another point of interest to buy from. But if I want to enter this trade, still I need Asian accumulation. So if Asia accumulates and does not break the high, that is another. So now that's why I say you need to have a rule for whatever you do in the market, a system-based rule. So you don't necessarily need discipline in Forex. You need a system that tells you what to do. And if this does not happen, you don't do this. If this happens, you do this. That is my rule for DavinchyFX, for the samurais. You need to be able to trade based on system. And if you need help with it, let me see signify in the comment section. Like, share this video to anybody to play. Just enter the comment section and type out something if you're having problem with anything. So now this is for gold. And for me now, if price does not give me an Asian accumulation without breaking the high and London sweeping the low, we are doing nothing. Goodbye, y'all.